Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com back for another Pittsburgh Steelers preview of their Week 13 matchup, hosting the Washington football team Monday night at 5 p.m. Washington, really underrated team, something that we've talked about all week, something that I know Steelers players and coaches have discussed. You're kind of wondering, how is this Washington team only 4-7? They seem to be a much better team than that. I think they will give Pittsburgh a lot of trouble on Monday. So let's talk about what to look for in this game. Starting with the Washington offense, and now led by Alex Smith. And again, I think one reason for this turnaround and why this team is better than their 4-7 record may indicate was they started the year with Dwayne Haskins. That did not work. They played a little quarterback roulette with Kyle Allen and guys like that before finally turning to Alex Smith, who has kind of calmed the offense down, given it stability, and then young guys have stepped up, whether you're talking about Antonio Gibson out of Memphis, a really exciting versatile player who didn't have a ton of college production, but a big play guy that is really finding a home and a rhythm in their offense. They use a couple of backs. JD McKissick's basically like a receiver. He's number 41, technically listed as a running back, but over the last month, he has more receptions, 21, than carries, 18. And they will run jet plays with him and align him out wide and basically treat him like a gadget guy receiver, kind of the way the Steelers do with Ray McLeod. Of course, talking with the Washington offense, you have to talk about Terry McLaurin, the speedy receiver, second-year kid out of Ohio State who can absolutely fly. He'll often play as the X receiver, the left side of the field, and Pittsburgh will not have Steven Nelson in this game, unlikely to, at least anyway, with a knee injury suffered in that Wednesday win over Baltimore. So Cam Sutton will get the start, and that'll be a big matchup to watch. Just overall, McLaurin on these cornerbacks. I wonder if Washington will try to get McLaurin on Joe Hayden a little bit more, knowing the Steelers don't travel, they don't do matchup and shadows and stuff like that, and so they'll have Hayden just on the left side exclusively. And will they try to test Hayden, who has certainly lost a step or two with his top speed, against McLaurin? That'll be interesting. And then do you have to play more too high to try to worry about the big play potential of Terry McLaurin, and even guys like Cam Sims and some other guys in this offense that are kind of interesting as well. So that's something to watch out for. Logan Thomas, a quarterback at Virginia Tech, turned tight end, doing pretty well, having good chemistry with Alex Smith, but also used in some weird situations. He'll throw the ball. He had I think one or two pass attempts this year. He'll be a quarterback sometimes, wildcat quarterback, do some quarterback sneaks, and so there's a lot of versatility, a lot of gadget guys on this offense to worry about. Whether you're talking about Cam Sims, Steven Sims Jr., Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, etc. And so when you're on a short week like Pittsburgh, when you're not as rested as Washington, who played on Thanksgiving, the day Pittsburgh, of course, was supposed to be playing. You guys know the rest of the story there. It's a lot to prepare for without a lot of time to practice, and that's going to, I think, give this defense, obviously missing now Bud Dupree, some problems. Defensively, I think Washington, they don't have the best defense in football, but they have the most underrated defense in football. It's a really good unit overall, especially with their pass defense, but their run defense is above average in most categories, and they got a really good front four that really no one talks about. I don't understand that either, because it's a lot of first round picks. You got Chase Young, of course, top five pick, but Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan, former first round pick himself, who still has a bunch of sacks, 5.5 this year. I think that's second on the team, only behind Montez Sweat. And they got a fifth round pick, Tim Settle, a D tackle, that's playing really well this year. So it is a tough front four across the board. They're going to inevitably get some one on one matchups, and that's going to really, stress the protection of Pittsburgh, which has been excellent. Ben's not been sacked in 4 games over his last 199 pass attempts dating back to that first Baltimore game. But this will be a big challenge for this group, especially if Marquise Pouncey cannot play. If JC Hassenauer gets a start, Hassenauer was fine, avoided disaster in that game against Baltimore, and so you take it. But certainly, this will be another challenge, especially because Baltimore's D line was so depleted and they didn't blitz that much. Not that Washington blitzes a lot either, but they blitz a little bit, and they run a lot of games and stunts and twists with their D tackles and defensive ends. And so that's something Pittsburgh has to really work towards, recognizing that, picking it up, and working together as a unit to stop those. Secondary doesn't have as many household names, but they're certainly talented here. There's Kendall Fuller, who leads the team with 4 interceptions this year. Their safeties are underrated, whether you're talking Cameron Curl or Troy Apke. They fit to run well. They come down strong and in the alley and run support. And as Mike Tomlin said, they're just a fundamental defense. It's very gap sound. Don't allow a ton of explosive plays. A couple more missed tackles for this defense than you would expect, but overall, I think it's a very fundamentally sound defense. And it's funny. Their leading tackler is John Bostic, old friend of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who spent a year with the black and gold. So he's found a home as kind of an every down type guy. In Pittsburgh, we'll see if Pittsburgh goes after him, or with Washington, rather. We'll see if Pittsburgh goes after him. But yeah, I mean, it's a defense that plays a lot of quarters, a lot of cover four, but they'll man up occasionally as well. And so it's just overall a pretty tough team. And then a quick note for special teams as well. We'll just have to see the status of Chris Boswell. I'm doing this video late on Saturday, so we don't have all the information on the status of Bos. Ben's questionable, but he's going to play. I'm not worried about that. But Boswell seems more up in the air. If he cannot go, then Matthew Wright will make his, I think, first career appearance in a regular season game. His leg, in terms of the power, is not great. He's pretty limited. Accuracy's decent, but that's something to obviously monitor. And maybe we'll have an answer by the time you're listening to this video. So for my prediction, I came close but didn't have the guts to go with Washington. But I think this one's going to be really close. And honestly, I would not be shocked if Washington pulled this one off because I agree with what players have said. This is a team that is playing much better than their 4-7 record indicates. But overall, I have Pittsburgh winning this one narrowly 21-20. I think Washington is just one of those sound teams that don't beat themselves too often and get a lot of pressure. I think the battle in the trenches will be so key in this one, especially the Washington pass rush versus the Steelers pass protection. We'll see who gets the edge there. Washington second in sacks, only behind Pittsburgh defensively this season. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh on that short week, Washington a lot of time off. Not going to help matters either. Some key injuries to Pittsburgh, whether you're talking about Steven Nelson, of course, Bud Dupree, the continued loss of Devin Bush. Washington overall a pretty healthy team and a team that's playing really well at the right time. So I think it'll be a close game. We'll see what happens, and hopefully, of course, root for a victory. So that's it for today's preview. Let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy for picking this game really close and even entertaining the idea of Washington pulling off the upset, or do you agree? And would you go further? And would you say that Washington, you think, will win this game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.